He does.
Prediction? Yes, prediction.
Are you ready? I ain't was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dirty, so bad, I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person. And I miss him. But sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just I hate that I'm scared.
It would be awesome to, being a great warrior, maybe with a Mexican.
My favorite interview ever. For real. I love Xander.
No, hey. Thank you for playing, man. I appreciate you. Bo's pretty good too.
Predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
Uefa, estamos en vivo, ladies and gentlemen. We are Longliveboxing EnVivo podcast. Manny Marrero,
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
breaking it down like it is, like it should be, with episode 74.
Giving you some more.
And look at my next door neighbor out here showing off his Sander Sayas shirt.
Check him out.
Man. And he was.
Man.
I was being bullied today because I forgot mine. I was more concerned.
fail.
I was more concerned about. Let me see what my brothers are thinking. They're thinking red, and I completely forgot about that. I had to bring my.
This brother was.
I got you, Xander. You my boy.
The brother
This Mexican
you,
here.
Papi.
Brother
Great
squared.
job this last Saturday. Amazing
job.
performance.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
complete boxer. Manny, I'm telling you.
What?
Xander's can't miss. He's a can't miss prospect. He's gonna. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he's gonna be a champion. And we're gonna be watching, and we're gonna celebrate it, and we're gonna toast, and we're gonna drink to it, and we're gonna talk about it.
And we are. I
wait.
love the fact, the pace that's going out there. I love the fact that people are understanding that and, letting him work and do his thing. At one point we're seeing, where is he going to get really, really good test? Well, guess what? Just quiet up. Shut up. He will get the
it's
test.
coming.
This is a sixth rounder now.
It's coming.
He did really good. I wasn't expecting a knockout. I was expecting to see him really work.
This is even better.
And
He gets
improve
the
what
rounds
he's
in.
been working with his awesome trainer, Javier Centeno. And it showed in the ring. Papi, we love you, bro.
Yep. And he was on the undercard too.
Oh.
The main event.
Yeah.
What was the main event?
Oh.
Dos Mexicanos al grito de guerra. And what a fight. Oscar Valdez versus Alacran Berchelt.
It didn't disappoint unless you had money on Berchelt.
Unless you have money
Did you
on
have money on
Berchelt?
Berchelt?
Did you lose, gringo?
Damn
Is that
show did. But you know what? It's
you
okay.
lost too. You won Berchelt.
I have to admit, I was leaning Berchelt, yes. And,
You're a little bit more than leaning, bro.
Gringo! Damn it!
Let me help you a little
I
bit. Let me take
confess,
some.
Oscar.
Let me
I
take some of the
confess,
hit.
Oscar,
Let me
yes.
take some of the hit. I said 5th round knockout for Berchelt.
I did think Berchelt was. I don't know. I just thought Berchelt had the more power. He's the bigger guy, and
no disrespect to
No,
Oscar.
of
Don't get
course
me
not.
wrong, guys.
Of
We
course
love
not.
them
We-
both. I know the youth and the talent he's got. It's just, I've been a Berchelt fan forever, and I got to see, Oscar Valdez
against
fight
Velez,
Lopez.
and then we saw Valdez fight Jason Velez. His last fight.
Jason Velez's last fight.
Right.
It wasn't
Or
like.
it wasn't.
It
He
was not
looked
impressive.
Coming up at the 130, Adam Lopez rocked him up,
dropped him.
dropped him. He recovered. He knocked him out
I think
eventually. And then Jason
It was
Velez.
a smart pick. Unless you were a huge Oscar Valdez fan, you were picking him. Otherwise, your brain was telling you, the way Oscar Valdez has looked in his previous fights, compared to the way Alacran has looked in his previous fights.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you know what? Alacran is, you lean 75, 25% towards Berchelt, but
Yeah, and then you look at the number of even Berchelt was going on his 9th title defense,
Ninth
right?
title defense.
For 130 pounds.
Yep.
And when you look at the way the numbers kind of broke out,
Hey, you watch it 5 times, Ringo. What's your perspective?
My perspective of walking away from the fight, I've never had a fight recently where I was just kind of in shock. Like I was really in disbelief. I was
concerned for
enjoying
the
it.
guy.
Yeah, I'm a Berchelt fan, so I'll admit that up front. So kept kind of pulling for him to win, but then I got fourth round extremely concerned. Like that fourth round is really kind of. I mean, obviously, if you're into brutality, it's what you're all about.
What you want, right?
You're shooting it up like some good heroin, but it's seriously was hard to watch from the standpoint of like, man, I really thought the fight could have been stopped in the fourth round.
Really, when he scored a knockdown when Berchelt was held up by the ropes in the fourth round. Russell Mora, he rightly ruled it a knockdown. I don't think it could have been stopped then, but definitely maybe after the second knockdown. Yeah, I think probably you could have made a case for it, and then it happened.
Yeah, then it definitely happened. I mean, if you look at the total numbers, total landed Berchelt 99, Valdez 149, thrown 144, Berchelt 534, Valdez. Now here's where the big gap is: the percentage of landed 22% for Berchelt and 28% for Valdez, and that's a huge uptick from what his normal output is. Yeah. And I think that's where, if I would sum up the performance for Valdez, I would say efficient. Like I walked away like he was making every punch count. He really was precise with his shots.
Tactical.
So do you think, like myself, like even I comment to you also as well as I said, if Valdez has the true 130 power, he can really be successful because Berchelt, his trend is always to receive a lot of punches and he takes them, and that's where he builds up from it. So do you think that Berchelt actually overlooked at his power, and because he rocked them a few times, but then we did see Berchelt kind of coming back little by little, but all of a sudden it was just trying, but
constant. It was constant aggression.
It wasn't really,
but it wasn't effective aggression. He kept pressuring, and credit to Oscar Valdez's corner, Eddie Reynoso. He got Oscar Valdez ready for this fight.
Yeah.
This version of Oscar Valdez, he gives anybody problems at that division, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This version of Oscar Valdez that we saw stop Miguel Berchelt beats everybody at 130 pounds.
Whoa.
Including Shakur Stevenson.
Everyone? Including Shakur?
Including Shakur.
All right.
This version of Oscar Valdez.
I mean, I could see Jamel Herring. I can see how
have to
Gringo?
Expand on that.
Gringo?
All right, so obviously a lot of people have anointed, and rightfully so, Shakur has been, very impressive, extremely impressive. He beat Smurf Diaz.
Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some, he beat.
Great guys.
He made him look like subpar average.
Ordinary.
Yeah, very ordinary when, he's a solid quality fighter.
Yep.
So you're saying that with a lot of strong conviction. Is it
because Oscar Valdez has been battle tested multiple times. I mean, come on, the guy got his jaw broken and he picked up the aggression. Who does that? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Shakur face adversity just yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him face somebody the caliber that Oscar Valdez has faced, of Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez has faced a better competition. He's been battle tested. He has, I believe, the better trainer. And hopefully that fight gets made because Shakur's with Top Rank. They're both with Top Rank.
I don't know. I disagree with you because I think that Shakur has had a lot of, I think their resume, it's equally the same if you ask me.
I disagree. I don't think anybody is at the level of Miguel Berchelt.
Yeah, that's a huge.
So you would say that Shakur Stevenson, and this is my fit about this, but you could say easily that Shakur would not beat Berchelt if that was the case.
It's power. That's the concern. Does he have the power to keep Oscar Valdez at bay?
That power was a real game changer. And one thing that I didn't anticipate, I figured that Berchelt would be a better approach as far as defending against that left hook.
I just didn't see
a lot of answers.
I don't know. He had
Berchelt seemed. You know what? I don't want to make excuses, but we have to call it like we see it. He seemed off. For some reason,
all of it. I mean, he was like jumping, like if he was like he had no legs.
He was weight.
He got hit by a jab, and like his legs start wobbling, and he's like about to get down.
I've seen a lot of people comment that maybe it was the rabbit punches that Oscar Valdez was committing, but I've never seen rabbit punches affect somebody that greatly. I think it was something else that was he just looked off.
It's not
But-
the same after COVID.
That's a great point because
Well, I can relate to that.
we don't know how.
How are you
know
feeling,
what?
Sean?
How are you feeling with the COVID? And that's for everybody that doesn't know. The reason we haven't been on the show is because my brother Gringo here had his own battle with COVID.
Yeah,
And how was that experience?
Yeah, it's real quick on that because I know you guys are way more concerned about Berchelt and his bout with COVID. But yeah, it was definitely tough. It was It was definitely not fake news. It was a real challenge to deal with, but I had a great support
Did
and
you
love
lose
of my
your
brothers.
appetite?
Yeah, but I kept eating, so imagine that.
You lost your taste?
Yeah, I lost my taste, but
Still kept eating.
Yeah, I kept going. I was like, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. This
I'm
bite.
not hungry right now, but
Next
I'm
bite.
hungry right now.
At some point.
It's not salty enough. Let me just put more salt.
No,
Or Chile.
Chile.
But
whoa.
But what I'll say that is relatable, and trust me, I'm the opposite of an athlete, is that this illness or dealing with that virus is that it drains you like nothing else from a standpoint of like the fatigue factor. It's really hard to do and exert any energy and recover. So from what my brothers are saying, that I could definitely see that. I mean, we saw it in, and I know it's apples and oranges or apples and pineapples as far as in the NFL, but I mean, a player that said he had it and people were laughing because he's kind of known as a partier is Ezekiel Elliott. And he said it's affected him, and that's why he had a real difficult
and I wanted
year.
to continue on that one because, yes, there's a lot of professional athletes who've come out and said the same thing. Not just boxers, but also if you look at our very own my very own, I know not Gringo since he's from Houston, Dallas Mavericks, we had like 4 key guys that had the COVID, and Josh Richardson was talking about how it's just difficult to regain your cardio because you can't train when you have it, or else it affects your lungs, supposedly, per what doctors say.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if you look at the performance that Miguel Berchelt had, and now we go back to boxing, and you compare it to the performance that Luke Campbell had against Ryan Garcia. Luke Campbell also had the COVID. Berchelt had the COVID, and they both just looked...
Jamel Herring had the COVID, and he almost lost to Okendo.
They looked off. And there's something to be said about this. It's not fake news.
No, not at all. I mean, anything that when you're...
It's not an excuse. It's the
your
real...
respiratory is everything when, you're an athlete. Recovery, especially in boxing, they only have so long to recover from, excruciating 3 minutes.
45 seconds,
That
right?
45 seconds goes just like that.
Soon
And
as
if you
you
can't
sit
breathe,
down.
it's, you're really put in a tough position.
Well, yours was
you
like
can't
pretty
train.
long. I mean, you came in positive forever.
Yeah,
you were
I mean,
positive forever.
I was positive
brother.
for 6 weeks. And right now I'm back to being half man, half negative.
Disappointment.
Yeah, half man disappointment. So
Welcome back.
And the funny thing is that
Feels
the
good to
last
be-
time we filmed, we were here Friday. It was a Friday or it was
December.
Thursday or Friday. I think
Yeah,
it was
Friday.
Friday. And then Tuesday we find out that the Gringo had it, and we're
And
like
we
all
were like,
testing ourselves.
Crap. Well, and you know what I did? I waited for you to get tested, Manny.
I said negative.
I was like, I'm not gonna get that shit put up my nose again. I did it
was
once.
horrible.
It's
It was
very
freaking
horrible.
horrible.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if
Oh
you
my
would have
God.
came out positive, I would have said, crap.
shit.
Now I gotta go
Yeah, dude.
get tested. But no, but Gringo, seriously though, hey, I'm glad you're feeling
Dude,
better, brother. I was
yes.
concerned about
No,
you
me too.
because we talked privately in our group message that we have. And
Absolutely.
I was concerned. We were praying for you. You pulled through. You're a tough hombre.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, it's good to be back, and yeah, I wish that on nobody. And if you're dealing with it, your family or have dealt with it, it's good to have great support, and I definitely had that. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's good, brother. But yeah, so Oscar Valdez, one of the best performances of his career, Mexicano. Now he's the WBC junior lightweight crown.
And you've really done a 180 on him from the standpoint as far as I look back at a lot of the clips, and because a lot of people felt the same way, that we didn't think that the marriage, if you will, or the partnership with Eddie Reynoso was actually working.
Wow, no, this proved me wrong completely because this was a complete performance by Oscar Valdez. And then especially the way he finished him with the swerve, set your feet,
2 seconds.
counter, boom,
Boom. Down.
out of it. That's who else does that? Canelo.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a Canelo move right there where he's defensive.
And he was actually
defensive
doing
movement
that
his head.
constantly
Yep.
because Berchelt, every time, as I mentioned earlier, every time he would get hit, his legs would wobble in a way that I've never seen. He's like hopping, but
Yeah.
it's not. Look at his
and he
weight.
was and he was he Berchelt in this fight, his ability to cut the ring off was just not there.
Not at all.
No.
I mean,
It's
that's one thing that stood out to me as well. Is just like his
he just kept falling him in a straight line,
Yeah,
which is, and I don't know what to say about. I mean, I don't know what to test it. Maybe Berchelt, only Berchelt and his team.
I don't want to make excuses.
Yeah, I don't wanna make excuses.
Yeah, because I mean,
But
you
I
wanna
mean,
give
it is
credit
what
to
it
where
is,
credit's
though.
due.
It's the real. It's the real. We
I have
gotta
to give it up for Oscar Valdez. Prove everyone wrong. It's not that I was rooting, like, for him to get destroyed. I mean, we as fans,
we just picked that.
Yeah,
thought
we
who
as
was gonna
fans,
win.
we feel like, okay, this is why. Then we validate why our statements saying that we want to be able him to win. But at the end of the day, we're not perfect, right? And things happen, and I just have to give it up. I was very excited for Valdez. He showed a lot of class, respecting the legend in Alacran after the fight. Very concerned about. I mean, it was a hard punch. I mean,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
never saw it coming.
Counter left.
Landed down. I mean, he landed completely.
I was concerned for a little bit.
No.
I would say something. Oscar Valdez was probably caught up in the moment, but the celebration while Alacran was down was little maybe tacky in my part.
The thing about
I know
it,
he was happy because he trained so hard for a year. What he
but
said.
the thing about it, every commentator and every interview he'd got was about everything about Berchelt. No one was giving anything, any props or any ups for Oscar Valdez for whatever reason. And this is one of the things that I was pretty disappointed and upset. And I'm going to bring it up right now because it's just, I mean, and I knew it was going to happen. Shakur Stevenson was asked 5 times before the fight, like through the card. He was asked 5 times, who would you want to fight? And he never, ever mentioned Valdez. He was always saying, Miguel Berchelt. Oh, no, I'm going to fight Berchelt. This is what I want. Oh,
he was already
who else
thinking
do you
Berchelt
want?
was going to win.
He said, I want Loma, but next, I want Berchelt. I mean, he was so confident, and I was hoping that the commentator will come to him and say, why are you so confident that you're going to fight Berchelt? Are you really that confident he's going to beat Oscar Valdez? He was never asked that. But when I saw his reaction, he was so...
You should have been interviewing Manny.
Yeah, I know. He was so into like Berchelt. And all of a sudden, Berchelt loses, and now the attention's driven to Oscar Valdez.
Wow.
And now Oscar Valdez is like, yeah, I know. He's the attraction now. Of course you're going to
Oscar called him out.
But, I mean, you have to, when you're in that position, I don't know, when you're in that position, you have to see both sides of the coin. You have to say, listen, I would prefer to fight Berchelt, but I have to give it up for Oscar Valdez. He has a legitimate chance to win. I mean, anyone does. If you're inside the ring, it's boxing. So that's kind of like what I got so disappointed. And I'm like, listen, I'd love to see that fight. Oh, it'll be awesome. Shakur Stevenson against Valdez. But the back of my mind is like it sounded a little like hypocrite, if you ask me. Like, you didn't want him. You didn't even mention him. You did not acknowledge that he had some potential to actually.
It was just a given for him.
No. I
mean,
I got excited when he said Loma because we talked about that before, right? And I think that could be a reality. But anyway, that was the
I mean, for me, it's a breath of fresh air from the standpoint of I become frustrated by the lack of fight in 135 has kind of been disappointing. So it's good to have another thing to talk about. I was really excited about, the young guns, so to speak. And, I know that Teofimo did, kind of another huge upset. He had upset Lomachenko, Manny's boy. And, we were excited for what that was going to bring. And we thought that he said all the right things as far as, talking about he wanted to have a career similar to Floyd Mayweather, Pretty Boy Floyd, which was, taking on all comers. And I was thinking, this is great. He's going to go ahead and, take on, Devin Haney. He's going to go ahead and take on Tank. He's going to take on, all comers. And I was thinking, why wouldn't he if he already beat the guy who was established as the man? But like all things, reality set in, and then, the money set in. Now, I know it was a big announcement today because, they had the purse bid and it did work in his favor.
My goodness.
Big time.
But
$6 million.
What is frustrating me, though, is like he could easily, him and Devin Haney, they're going back and forth, into social media, which is, to the point of nauseum at this venture. But, I am glad that he, it worked out in his favor. I am glad that he is going to fight Kumboso, fighting out of Sentinel's camp. But we need to have more undisputed bouts. I think, to me, just real quick, as far as how can you define, because boxing is really hard. It's almost undefinable as far as success. You can point to 1 or 2 fights, but I think there is a measure that we can actually use. I think for me, and I'd like my brother's thoughts on this real quick before we kind of venture in, because it is, Canelo week. But they have opportunity, and it's right on the cusp for 5 different divisions. In the heavyweight division, Fury Anthony, which I know there's some talk about that because Fury put a tweet out there that he's frustrated about. He doesn't think the fight's going to happen. But again, I think that's just kind of all talk and bluster because they're so close and that fight's just so huge. That's confidently, I think, is going to happen in this year. 168, talking about Canelo versus Plant. And, I'll let my brother kind of chime in on this. But for me, and I'll admit, there were times where I was, admittedly, openly a Canelo hater from the standpoint of hating the fact that I felt he was putting too many stipulations. He wasn't really stepping up to the challenge. But, I think now that he's freed himself, he sees an opportunity. I think he truly wants to be undisputed. So to me, even though people question the depth and quality, if you're undisputed, you're undisputed. And especially if you go undisputed in a year, that's phenomenal. So if we can get 154, male Charlo or little Charlo versus Brian Castano, no reason that shouldn't happen at 154. And then we have, obviously, to me, the easiest one, I think that's pretty much around the corner, 140, Taylor versus Ramirez.
It's going to happen in May.
That's got to happen.
No, it's going to happen. It's pretty much it's pretty much done deal. They're debating on what
I love your confidence.
Keep in mind that they're trying to stretch it as much as they can, so that way they'll have fans.
Right.
And there's a lot of money stake in there.
No,
so
that's what I'm saying.
No, that's a fight that I think I'll probably try to attend when it happens, if they let us in. Get my vaccination first with the COVID.
Boom.
I think that's definitely a fight I want to attend.
All right, and then the last one is, kind of touching on the names that we're kind of touching upon. Teofimo Lopez and the email champ, the C- fighter slayer, Devin Haney. So it's technically, I know people are going to say, even the WBC, which is confusing, they were saying that Teofimo is already undisputed because he has the franchise WBC. Haney, we give him crap about having WBC and he's selling out gas stations or whatever, but he still has the WBC belt.
It's not undisputed.
Yeah, so he's not clear. Undisputed. So to me, the measure of success is if we can get more undisputed champions. Because it clears the path. If we're frustrated by all these fake belts, the JCPenney belt, the Kool-Aid belt, we need to have a
gold, diamond, bronze.
But if we have
the
we can point to one guy,
belts coming out,
right? If we can say Fury's the top guy at heavyweight, right, and not no dispute about it, and we can say Canelo's number 1 at 168, and we can say Charlo is number 1 at 154, Taylor or Ramirez is number 1 at 140. If Teofimo was number 1 at 135. How much better would that be for the sport? Point to one individual and then have them do what a champion does is start to have defenses, right? And I think that's a good way to kind of bring people in, because right now, with so many belts and things are scattered and fragmented, it's really hard to get people to buy in. And to me, it's really important for the heavyweights to really make sure that fight happens, because you can say what you want.
Well, that's going to happen.
But
I don't think
you never know. It's still boxing.
It's still boxing.
Yeah. So the thing about it is, like, heavyweights bring in the casuals. We could say what we want about Lazy Ruiz, but we need him to come back.
Pay-per-view. I would say pay-per-view. Good pay-per-views will bring the casuals. They're looking for another opportunity. They understand the sport. There's a big pay-per-view.
Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones.
Exactly. Thank you.
No.
Look and then now Holyfield
Jake
versus
Paul.
Mike Tyson,
Logan Paul.
That's going to bring people. That's going to get attention. So I'd say pay-per-view.
So, what do you guys think about that? That's just me kind of shooting something out there. Do you think it really is that important? Or is it, that's not really a priority? It doesn't really matter to you guys? There's other fights that, you'd rather see that aren't necessarily those fights. And
it just depends what kind of undisputed you're looking for. Like, if we're thinking about right now at the 135, yes, it's he's one belt short of being undisputed. do I really want to see a huge major pay-per-view paying money for seeing Teofimo and Devin Haney? I would rather see Devin Haney fighting someone else.
Well,
than
see,
Devin Haney.
that's kind of the thing. Like, that's part of my frustration. Like, hey, I'm not saying because Teofimo said he wants $10 million.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the point now.
That's insane. Yeah,
that's the point now. That now you're getting into a status that you're demanding certain amount of money, which we knew it. I told you guys at the beginning. He's starting to do this, and he's not even he's just a one belt champion. Waiting till to see if he becomes and unified. Watch and see, and that's going to happen. Is he going to move up? Who's going to be the A side? I know he wants to build in his legacy, and I know he wants to capture one fight, all the belts, probably at the 140. But the reality is there are more people out there that I'm more interested in seeing just because of the potential of the fight and the major aspect of the pay-per-view rather than just seeing something that it's okay for all the belts. I mean, people are already saying he is the Undisputed. So what difference does it make if he really gets the fight against Haney or not? I'd rather see him somewhere else, and he can make more money other than Haney. That's my take.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's about to make a lot of money right now.
Yeah, fighting the mandatory.
Kambosos. So what's your thoughts on that, Hopper? I mean, do you agree? Do you think Undisputed is that a good way to measure it? Is that just something that, doesn't really impact you?
No, it's big time because it happens so often. So it's so rare. How many Undisputed champions have we had in the past or in the history of boxing?
At 147, the last one was
Mayweather.
Zab Judah.
Zab Judah or Mayweather was 135.
When you're talking about completely undisputed, who's the well, Teofimo, yeah, technically, I guess, with the WBC email champ, that whatever they got going on, or the stupid franchise tag that they have. Terrence Crawford did it at 140 pounds. We will have Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor fight.
That'll get squared up.
And then we will have Canelo do it in September. When he defeats
Caleb
Plant. So and hopefully in 175 we can get Beterbiev and Bivol to do it. Oh,
see, that's the thing. Like, that's the one that people don't really talk about because it's like they have the least amount of confidence in happening because Russians don't fight each other.
That's so
and well, yeah.
And they
that's just it is. I mean, it's crazy.
No, it's Undisputed to me. It still holds a lot of weight because
do you think
if Canelo does it, he'd be the first Mexican to do it at 168 pounds
in a year, calendar year.
And in a year, and then I guess we should go ahead and start talking about Canelo then, huh?
So let's kind of talk about that because let's be honest, and I'll go ahead and I'll be the
hater
in the room, half man, half disappointment.
Why am I not surprised?
Bringing the heat,
Manny, he's healthy. He's healthy. He's back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal.
Welcome
I got my taste buds and my hate buds. So here's the thing, brother. So one thing that I'm constantly hearing, I listen to different podcasts. I listen to different things because I love perspective. I love different ideas and thoughts and point of view.
Just trying to get Canelo
what
to lose.
No, definitely not
killed,
now.
huh?
Come on, man.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
the thing is that with Canelo, he's so talented. People do acknowledge his talent. It seems to be frustration from the standpoint of quality opponent, which is going to be hard to argue this week, and then also stipulations he had in the past. I know there's like this weird thing where maybe it's just by happenstance it just worked out that way. In the last 7 opponents, he hasn't fought anybody that's younger than him. People break down things that you usually don't hear with other fighters. Maybe because it's Canelo, maybe because they're just looking for a flaw within his performances. But he's also not fighting anybody, quote unquote, really slick or athletic. He will be fighting somebody slick if he does fight Caleb Plant. I think that actually will be a really good fight, and I hope that happens. But taking that all into consideration, as far as what do you think about the stipulations, the weight stipulations? How does that weight?
He just fought the number 1 guy rated by the TRBB, Callum Smith, the Ring Magazine champion, Callum Smith. He went up to 175 to fight Sergey Kovalev. He defeated Daniel Jacobs. He fought Triple G twice. I mean, what else do you want him to do? I mean, what else can he possibly do?
The problem is that people are wanting to see. All right, I get there's other top champions out there, they want them to see what's impossible right now. And if you
and
can't
here's
understand the politics behind some of these that goes behind the scenes under the promoters, you can't immediately say you're going to see a Charlo. You can't immediately say you're going to see a Ben.
And then as far as the stipulations go, you're acting gringo like that's something new that Canelo's doing. Like that's something that there's a cliche that goes around. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I like that cliche.
He didn't invent this.
Casual.
Your boy Floyd Mayweather
Yes.
was a master at this.
Yeah.
He was.
Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya.
Yes.
You go back in time. I mean, these guys. Now this is what I hate about the A side. They call the shots, and that's just it's not something. It's gonna be there. It was there before Canelo arrived. It's gonna be there when he leaves. And that's just the way boxing is set up.
The same thing when you start your career. They measure your career, and when you're a champion, they measure how they're going to continue to move you on. And then that could definitely happen, but I don't think right now it's its fault.
And then here's the thing, though, with Canelo, and I went on a rant on Facebook about this a while back.
Ooh.
It seems that when there's a superstar in boxing, when there's the face of boxing, everybody in or around that division plays it safe. Only Canelo gets held to a ridiculously high standard compared to everybody else. Everybody else can get away with fighting a Caleb Truex. Everybody else can get away with fighting Ronald Ellis. Everybody else can get away with fighting whoever the hell Jermall Charlo has fought, Dennis Hogan. He fought
Heroes.
He fought. He forced Brandon Adams to come up from 147 to fight him at 150, at 160, 154 to 160. I mean, these guys can get away with that crap. Not Canelo though. Canelo can't.
So
Canelo, he's in the span of one calendar year. If everything goes to Canelo's plan, he already fought the number one guy at 168 and destroyed him, made him look ordinary.
broke his arm
by just punching him. In the span of one calendar year, Canelo will be undisputed. He's going to fight the champions. He's going to give all these guys their first loss. Undefeated champions.
All right, so
what are people complaining about?
What my counter to that would be is that people are going to say, even if he does within a calendar year, fighting out of his unnatural weight at 168,
and one mandatory,
unified, and a mandatory, right? They'll say, oh well, he dug Benavidez.
Benavidez. He lost his title at the scale. It's his own fault.
That's his problem.
He peed dirty. He peed cocaine, and then he lost it for being overweight. Oh, that's Canelo's fault.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, he's not in the rankings. He's not. That's not Canelo's problem. If he was the mandatory, well, when that happens, we'll see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It was more because
and then
when
here's
he
the thing. And then
moved up
everybody else. Why isn't Caleb Plant fighting Benavidez? Why isn't Jermall Charlo fighting Bubu Andrade? Why aren't these guys fighting each other? It makes no sense. The only one taking risks is Canelo. The only one fighting champions is Canelo. And it's very frustrating because you look at the resume of some of these guys, Jermall Charlo, Dennis Hogan, Brandon Adams, Matt Korobov. It's trash. And then you want to say some stuff about Canelo?
And I
really?
I think it has to do also with the timing, that a lot of people are not seeing that. Because I remember if you go back to when he fought Kermin Syndrome. And then he fought, Shane Mosley. And then after that, he goes to Josecito Lopez. And then they're like thinking, all right, let's get some of the big fights. Then he fights Austin Trout.
After Austin Trout defeated Cotto.
Exactly. And now he finally gets to Mayweather and couldn't prove himself after that. But then... he starts fighting less opponents.
And then he fought Alara when nobody wanted him. I mean...
Right. But then you go to Kirkland. Yes, you got Cotto.
And then
after that. But then you started going down again, Khan, Smith, Chavez. Until you finally get, to fight, Gringo's guy over here, GGG. So it's been an inconsistency pattern of... Canelo fighting with these guys. Once he gets to the peak, he goes back and low and chooses another opponent. He decided to go to the 175 and fight, washed out Kovalev. That's what people thought. That's what people thought. I'm just paraphrasing.
One fight previously, he
right.
He
I get it, but that's what they're saying. That he decided
Canelo
to choose.
Makes him look washed out. That's the thing.
He decided to go up there because supposedly people were thinking he's washed out, and then he comes back down again, and now he's starting to improve himself again. But then he gets to fight in mandatory. So I get what people were thinking about it, but you got to see the big picture.
I don't.
You got to see the big
people
picture.
are just gonna be.
If you're gonna fight the way you fought like last fight, and you're gonna take another fight couple of months after, you got it. You got to first of all go to that mandatory. Second is it's to your benefit. You're going to eventually fight these champions. You got to give yourself some time. And I think that people don't have patience enough to wait one fight so that way they can go see that big fight they're looking for.
And the funny thing is that Caleb Plant last year, he fought in February. Canelo offered him to fight in May. He said that wasn't enough time. Canelo literally just fought in December. He's fighting in February, and he's going to fight again in May. He's older than Plant. What the hell, Plant? What's your excuse on that? I mean, the only guy that's fighting champions is Canelo. We need more guys. He broke away from his promotional company to fight the number one guy at 168.
Yeah,
who does that?
So what do you think? Okay, if do you think that that's a done deal, Caleb Plant after Yildirim?
people do make it.
No,
seem like
after
that.
Yildirim, it's probably B.J. Sanders in May. And then Caleb Plant in September.
So that's
and then even then I can go one step further. I think after Caleb Plant in September, I think Anthony Durrell is on the radar after Caleb Plant because of the way the PBC operates. They're not gonna let Canelo just go in there and beat up their guy, take their belt. They're gonna want Anthony Durrell. Recently was ranked by the WBC or not ranked. His fight versus his next opponent is now a WBC final eliminator, which is stupid. The other guy he's not even ranked. He's 15-2. And that just smells like a power move by the PBC to force them. Because they know, they see the writing on the wall. They know Canelo's going to whoop Caleb Plant. So once he beats him, they're going to say, oh, well, you got to fight Durrell. It's going to be a 2-fight deal with the PBC. And Canelo's going to have to
Durrell?
fight. Because that's a WBC final eliminator. That's what they just... yeah, your question boggles the mind, but that's what they wanted. And it smells like the PBC told the WBC, hey, get this guy into our mandatory position.
So why they just bring in Charlo?
Jamal Charlo?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't fought anybody at 168.
He'd have to move up.
He hasn't fought anybody at 160. He fought Derevchenko coming off a loss, coming off of 2 out of 3 losses. He lost to Triple G and to Daniel Jacobs. And then he was in a grueling battle with Triple G, and now all of a sudden Jamal wants to fight him.
Yeah,
Jamal has the weakest resume at 160 pounds that I've ever seen, and people are really saying Canelo duck that dude. It's fucking laughable. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me, and I always try to look at things objectively as possible. I'm thinking like, let's say, for example, they announced the fight that people keep questioning that would Canelo take or not. Let's say they announce David Benavidez, and then they say right after that he fights Charlo. Canelo's favored in both.
Yeah, and why isn't Jamal fighting Benavidez?
That's the fight I want.
Why aren't they fighting each other?
I don't think Benavidez can make one.
Too much longer.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
think so.
I think so
he
too.
struggled last
It's gonna
time,
be.
so
It's gonna.
He struggled
be,
at 168. What do you think he's gonna struggle? He's
it's
probably gonna
gonna
end up.
be hard.
He's probably gonna get tired. He's probably gonna end up to light heavyweight.
Let me ask you guys this: if Canelo fought the guys that Jamal Charlo has fought, how loud would the outcry be? If he fought
No, it'll be the
Sergey
same.
coming off of 2 out of 3 losses. If he fought Dennis Hogan,
No.
Brandon Adams, Matt Kotorbov,
But still,
Sebastian Halen with one leg.
I think that's still at the
That's
168.
horrible.
At the
That's
168,
Jamal Charlo's 160-pound resume.
This is where I'm
Those
gonna
5
hear.
guys.
This is what I'm gonna hear after Canelo probably wipes out. the
Bubu
entire
Andrade,
division.
don't even bring him up.
He'll
He hasn't fought
wipe.
anybody.
He'll wipe the entire super middleweight, and this is what I'm going to see. Well, he stayed in a division where he knew it was weak, and you talked about it. I mean, he'll probably beat Billy Joe Sanders, probably beat Caleb Plant, probably unified. Hopefully it happens, but they're always going to talk about that. They're going to say, why didn't he go down to the 160?
He already beat up he already became undisputed there. The
Yeah, but, I
WBC, WBA, IBO.
He could do it again.
Yeah,
He could do it again. All I'm saying is people are always going to say something.
Oh no!
Just because they're
Alvarez
gonna,
didn't pay the sanctioning fee for the IBO. I mean, I guess
people are always going to
recognize
say something about whether it's
and
you
that's
hate
the
them or
thing
not.
about
They're going to say
boxing
something
fans.
about it.
They're gonna hate on anything. Boxing fans are.
Watch and see. Oh, he stayed in 168 just because it was weak and he knew he can dominate again. I mean,
Even though,
Yeah, I mean-
even though you consider the fact that Jermall Charlo was the mandatory to Canelo and they never enforced it for 2 years,
then what do? You move up.
you mean this guy doesn't want to fight me? All right, well.
So what do I do? Stay them and beg?
No, so I
I
guess-
just can't see. They knew. PBC knew. Hey, we can't put Jermall in there with this guy. They haven't put Jermall in there with anybody really. I mean, Sergey Derevchenko. Yeah, we gave him props for it, but even then, he was coming off of a loss, 2 out of 3 losses.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
Everybody wants to criticize Canelo, and then you take a closer look at everybody around his division. Caleb Plant just recently fought Caleb Truex. What? 38 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. He spent the entire 2020 recovering from that Achilles injury. David Benavidez is fighting Ronald Ellis.
I honestly, the more I think about it, and not disrespecting, the rest of the super middleweight champions, because it'd be great to see them fight. I'd love to see Billy Joe Sanders and either or Caleb Plant against Canelo. But honestly,
Why aren't they fighting each other?
I'm starting. Right, I don't know, but I'm starting to think that the best, at least in my opinion, I know someone in this table is going to agree with me, but I think the best fight that we can see Canelo,
Triple G.
it will be a trilogy. With Triple G.
Trilogy.
I'm starting to think about now.
What weight though?
It's going to be have to be 168.
Well, it'll be 160 now. Because you're probably going to take
Can't
that.
do it.
Canelo's not going to go down to 160.
Yeah.
Catch weight,
already-
165, 164?
No, it's going to be 168.
168?
Mr. Career 160 is going to have to move up.
Not gonna happen.
He's going to have to. Gringo.
Well, for that payday, yeah.
If he wants it, he's going to have to go up and get knocked out by Canelo. And see, here's my issue with this whole everybody that wants to criticize Canelo is that, okay, you want to criticize Canelo even though he has probably the best resume in boxing. Take a look at the guy you're rooting for. Look at his resume. Jermall Charlo, resume's trash. Boo Boo Andrade, who have you fought? Benavidez, he's our boy. Who has he fought?
All right, so
Billy Joe Saunders.
really,
He struggled he struggled in his last fight to beat a guy that retired shortly after the fight.
so it's funny you guys mentioned that Canelo versus Triple G. One of our good
Martin
friends
Murray?
actually
Martin
mentioned
Murray, yeah,
Martin Murray.
struggled with Martin Murray.
I can't believe that guy's still fighting.
I know.
And he retired.
He retired after the fight.
He took a beating.
Yeah.
He took a beating
Oh,
in that
okay.
fight.
he retired.
Finally.
Yeah, he did.
Shout out to the UK.
No, right.
But
Yeah, and that's my thing. Is you want to criticize Canelo? All right, take a look at your guy, whoever you're rooting for.
all
And then
right.
holla back.
All right, so let's say that they do have that. Let's say they do have
I'm
that fight. Just to talk about that real quick, as far as Triple G does decide to go get that last payday and take his chance, and hopefully, not get embarrassed. But when he does fight Canelo in the third fight, would that be? I've heard people call that a double cherry pick.
Those people are stupid. They just want to talk. I don't understand the double cherry picking thing, Dale, because as I just said, Canelo has probably the best resume in boxing, not named Pacquiao. There's nobody else who can touch it. Triple G was one of the most avoided fighters for a while in his prime while he was in HBO. Nobody wanted to fight him.
You know what I really want to see? I really do, and I think about it all the time. I actually had a dream last night of a fight. I'll let you guys know. But right now, what I'm trying to talk.
Is there mud and
now,
oil involved?
No.
EnVivo.
Well, my statement at this particular time has nothing to do with the dream. But I would love to see Jaime Munguia against Jermall Charlo. That would be for me.
Mel Charlo?
Jamal?
Maul.
Jamal.
Oh, Maul.
Yeah, Charlo. That would be like.
I don't even think the PBC would put him in
there. And
there
that's the
with
thing,
Munguia.
man. That's what I'm talking about. You got great fights.
Watch.
You have
I
great
guarantee
fights,
you.
and they're
let's
not
see,
putting
let's
these
see
guys
who Jamal
together.
fights next.
I'm waiting.
can't
I'm waiting.
wait
I'm
to
waiting.
see.
I'm
I
waiting.
can't
We gotta
wait
hear
to
that
see
in the
who-
next couple months.
Oh, I guarantee you, it's gonna be
After
somebody
Canelo.
ranked like number 50 in the. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a kid. It's not gonna be Boo Boo. It's not gonna be.
I'll be
Triple
shocked.
G.
Like
Oh,
Benavidez.
well, hopefully Triple G then.
It's
All right,
not
so
gonna be
I mean,
Triple G.
we can't get out of here unless we talk about something. Obviously,
Well, my dream.
your dream for sure.
Don't forget about that one.
Yeah, I didn't really want to touch the dream too
it's
much
a special
more.
fight that I got a feeling it's going to happen.
The dream or the fight?
The fight.
Okay.
That I had a dream.
All right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dreaming going on. Okay. That being said,
Yeah.
actually, and I love to see Canelo do his thing, go to work. Whether he's all over Instagram hitting the big water bag, whichever he loves to post. But he's gonna probably knock this guy in under 5. That's kind of the going thing.
Yeah.
So, but I was looking forward to.
I don't know because this guy Yildirim, he's have you guys taken a look at him?
I have.
He's like a freaking bodybuilder.
Yeah, but still.
He
He got knocked out by Chris Eubanks.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
One
That was
time.
my point.
Yeah, and
yeah,
Chris Eubank Jr. he's an elite
yeah, but
fighter.
still, I just don't think that he's at the level of
He's
Canelo.
got,
is he going to take some shots? He's going to land some shots. I'd say he's going to have a few shots here or there, but I don't think he's in the level of Canelo.
No,
I'll be
of course
completely
not, of course not.
shocked.
Nobody is.
If actually this is
Nobody's
like the biggest
on the
upset
level of Canelo.
of the
I
boxing history.
So you're saying it could be more competitive than we think?
I think it could be more competitive than what you guys are thinking. Yildirim has his hand speed.
Are you
is
saying
not,
that to smooth things up?
No.
Or
His hand speed is not fast, but he can definitely set up his punches, especially that left hook. And he's very awkward in the sense that he can land these looping punches from crazy angles.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
He's only been knocked out once by Eubank Jr. But other than that, he's shown to have some pretty good, pretty good chin, pretty good whiskers.
Oh, he's a mandatory.
Plenty
for a
of
reason.
heart, plenty of determination. He's a pressure fighter. Excellent. I mean, he's great. He has toughness. He has grit. He's very blue collar. He's not a one punch knockout guy, but he is very heavy handed. Very powerful jab. He's at his best when he works inside and he can land these uppercuts and these hooks. And because of his physique, he can muscle opponents in the clinch. He's very strong. He does fire shots with malicious intent.
Whoa.
He mixes up his punches. He mixes up his punches. He's an experienced veteran, very great heart, very determination. Now his defense, he has that Triple G style defense where he keeps his gloves up very high.
High guard.
He's not much of a counter puncher. His head is very stationary though, and that's where I can see Canelo having a lot of success. He got knocked out by Chris Eubank Jr. with an uppercut, and I think it's going to be Canelo's most effective punch is the uppercut. So
you're giving him a lot more credit than I thought you would.
Yildirim is not a he's not a bad
He's
fighter.
not, and I actually
he's mandatory.
I remember the Darrell fight too, and he had some pretty good moments.
Yeah, he
but
blooded him
still,
up.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. There's a reason why. Well, he's not the mandatory. He's not the number
if
one.
Anything,
number
I'm
one is
thinking,
Benavides.
Yeah, if anything, I'm thinking Canelo. The uppercut. Once that uppercut starts landing, because Yildirim is a pressure fighter, he's gonna play into Canelo's hand because Canelo he's a master technician. He's a master counter puncher. This guy's just gonna walk right into Canelo.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna knock him out, but it will make for a eye pleasing fight.
I
as
like
long
your
as it lasts.
I like your assessment there, buddy. But I think it'll be just a very frustrating night for the
fight.
poor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I mean, there's no
Get your
there's
drink
no
and
doubt.
snacks before.
I
got you. I
just wanted to describe him,
you
give him
are
the strengths.
you are a
just
very
wanted to-
humble, super extremely Canelo fan, and you got to give props to the opponent as we actually break it down
No,
here.
I wanted
like
to just break it down. Break his
exactly.
strengths down.
I get it. I get it. Bottom line, knockout. Fourth
Yeah,
round.
I'm thinking knockout as well. I'm thinking knockout. Knockout first round. No.
Wow, the truth comes out.
not the first round.
I say four.
It'll be maybe
four
like
round knockout.
an eighth, ninth.
So just real quick, want to touch on this because unfortunately it was some disappointing news. I mean, as we were talking about, Canelo and his opponent, and where he'll eventually go, because it's hard not to look past this opponent because Canelo's got bigger and better things ahead of him, irregardless
Fighting
of what people think.
champions.
Yeah, fighting champions. So that being
Who else is
said,
doing that in boxing?
well,
Who else is fighting champions besides
actually somebody
Jose
that
Ramirez and Josh Taylor?
somebody that hurt their
Jamal ain't
hand.
fighting champions.
So let's talk about that. El Rey, unfortunately, is not going to be able to fight.
You had to bring me down, huh, Canelo? I mean, called you Canelo. Look at that.
Yeah.
Go Nello.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the fight.
So I mean, is he
Look at this.
snake bitten?
Look
I
at
mean,
this.
Oh,
It's the
damn.
face of disappointment.
look at mine. I'm waiting
Here's
for
the
a
thing,
Puerto
like-
champion.
How do you
Man,
hurt your
I
hand
can't
like
see it this
No
way.
come frijoles. He doesn't eat beans, man.
So he's got COVID, what, 3 times?
Well,
twice?
I've never hurt my hand, so maybe that is it.
And then now he hurt his hand, according to what
Again?
we've listened.
Doing what, though? I mean,
I don't understand.
what is he doing? It's like 48 hours.
I mean, I
before
hope
the
he's
fight.
okay, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
I mean,
trying to
hope
bash
he's
him out there,
okay.
but
I hope.
God, I mean,
What's going on, man? I mean, I'm a selfish bastard. I mean, yeah, I'm concerned about his health, but seriously, what is wrong with him? He's had 2. This is his 3rd fight that's been canceled.
He fractured his right hand.
Oh, it's fractured?
Yep.
Wow.
but I think that had to happen before. It's just they just called it out. To, this
Broken
week. I don't know.
metacarpal bone in his right hand.
That's the second.
He waited
time.
until the last moment because he was still planning on fighting, but it's not possible.
Damn. That's a real bummer. I didn't mean to bring the show down with that. So let me bring it back up with some positivity.
Positivity.
So again, we've had such great support and people asking when we're going to come back and do some more shows.
Yo,
and,
we're
hey,
back, baby.
We
We're
is back.
We're back.
We
So I want to make sure to make a point to shout out to some people that give us great support. Since the inception, literally our first interview, first show was done with Sweat Boxing. Listo Gaitan. Much love to him. Much love to Hector. Hector says that they're working on something right now. He's working on a concert. Big shout out to Hector Vasquez and what he's done with his team there in Irving, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Because they
Puerto
don't
Rican
get the
style.
credit for it with him and Mikey Garcia, but they were actually the first event in Texas with fans, and we were at that event, myself and my brother Manny, and it was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, people were following the protocol and everything, but great energy.
We came out great out of that fight.
It was very, very entertaining and very enjoyable. So he just wanted to send his love out, and they're working on something. So keep giving your love and support to them, and we got so much respect for what they're doing.
Hey, and if
there.
you guys are looking to stay in shape, they got some amazing
Sweat
classes.
Boxing Gym in
a lot of
Irving.
stuff out there. I mean, glow
Holla
night
at your boy.
sessions and cardio stuff. And hey, if you want to, hit those bags over there, and then just instead of punching your girl or your boy or whatever, just punch those bags. Go over there, Set Boxing.
Absolutely.
Irving, Texas.
And then Mark Eduardo Vasquez, big shout out to him. He's doing big things. So he said a special message to his fans that a big fight date is coming soon.
Yes.
Anticipation is over. Just a reminder, everyone out there, take care of their mental health. Keep their head, whoever is listening, because the pandemic is hard times on everyone. We can definitely agree to that.
Yep.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and they might just get lost from time to time, but success without struggle, what exactly is it? So, great thing. So shout out to him, and of course, Listo, the Ataclanes, and all of his family and all the great things they do. And just, hey, for you guys, thanks for you guys listening. And yeah, we promise we're going to have another show sooner than later. We got some things worked out to make sure that we keep you guys in the loop as things get unraveled in this crazy mixed up boxing world. We've missed this. It's been so great to be back in the studio. And, I can't wait till we do it again. So any last words from my brothers? First, you, Hopper.
Vamos, Canelo.
Woo! Ay!
Mexicanos a grito de guerra. I'm trying to compose myself a little bit because a little bit upset about knowing that we're not going to see a opportunity for the Puerto Rican to win a championship. Very disappointed. But on the other hand, is we have the ability to dream, and when you dream, it can become truth. Reality. And I had a dream last night.
Whoa!
And
back to that dream.
There was a fight that was made. And when I woke up this morning, I had to read everything to see if actually that came reality. But I have a feeling that Manny Pacquiao will be fighting Crawford. That was my dream. We'll break it down sometime soon. If you believe in that dream, cheer me on because I think it might happen. We'll see.
EnVivo.
Hey, hasta luego.
Ay! Fuera!